What's going on, peeps? It's Inside Boxing Brain with Harry Hamid, and we are back for another video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video, and drop me a comment as well if you're interested in today's subject. Today's video is a reaction to Paddy the Baddy calling out Ariel Helwani. Now, we're going to break down the video, we're going to talk about the situation, I'm going to give you my take on what I think is going on. So yes, this video is for boxing fans, for UFC fans, and for MMA fans. It's for everyone. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so if you haven't seen the video, go and check out the podcast between Dana White and Paddy the Baddy. Now, in this podcast, Paddy the Baddy is essentially accusing Ariel Helwani of taking advantage of fighters and abusing his power to monetize the relationships that he has with the fighters, essentially saying that he is using the fighters to monopolize the industry and he isn't paying the fighters for the interviews that he's doing. This all sparking off the back of a conversation where Paddy said that Ariel wanted an interview, and once Paddy's management asked for payment, Ariel said no, and then the argument ensued. So I just want to unpack the situation a little bit, because in the podcast Paddy actually says some quite defamation almost like statements where he's accusing the character and judgment of Ariel, to say that he doesn't have the best interests of the fighters at heart, and he as a person is just taking advantage of fighters to put money in his own back pocket. He even claims that Ariel makes thousands and thousands and thousands, alluding to tens of thousands of dollars off the fighters. Now, Ariel did come back with a response video, and he kind of debunks a lot of the allegations made against him. But one of the key pieces of information that I took away from that podcast, listening to Paddy the Baddy, is that Paddy understands that he's got a short window in the game, and he wants to try and make as much money as possible so that he can cash out when the time is right, because in his last fight Paddy really struggled. Many fans are saying that Paddy lost that fight and they want a rematch to happen, but obviously Paddy the Baddy isn't going to give the guy the rematch, because that would go against his trajectory in the game, because he's trying to get to the highest of heights and he wants that McGregor fight. So why did he accuse Ariel of being such a bad person for combat sports and UFC or the MMA community? Now, it comes down to Ariel's journalistic credibility. Ariel denied him payment and said, I'm not going to pay you for any of the content or any of the interviews that we do. If you're going to do them for the platform, do them for the exposure. Now, that got Paddy's back up, because Paddy kind of felt like, I'm bringing all this value to the table and you're monetizing me and my imagery and my likeness and my voice and my content. There's two ways to look at this. You can understand it from Paddy's perspective, because yes, the platform in which that interview or that video was going to be aired is monetizing Paddy, but Ariel himself is actually just an employee of the company, whether that's BT Sports or whether it's ESPN or whoever the actual platform or provider is. So you can't say that Ariel is directly cashing in on that interview. Ariel's doing a job, and your role as the fighter is to use that platform to try and build your exposure, build your credibility, and build your fan base to the point where you can start charging ridiculous amounts for appearances, for speeches, for doing guest shows, or for live talks, or for interviews, but not with the major players in the game who have already got enough clout to have all the major fighters want to talk on their platforms anyway, free of charge. So I can understand it from Paddy's perspective, but I also need to just reiterate the fact that you can't expect a station to be paying for those types of interviews. Those types of interviews are to build up a fight. And if you're trying to build up a fight, you need to have agreements with the networks that you're going to do X amount of interviews with them to build up the show and sell tickets. It's a give and take situation. They are providing you with the viewership and you are providing them with the content. They are providing you with the exposure and you're providing them with the information and the video or the content essentially to capture the audience's imagination. So it was a little bit a baffling video or a baffling situation to sit and observe and watch and listen to Paddy sort of tear apart Ariel, saying that he's terrible for the game and he's been fired from every job that he's had and he's trying to monopolise and that he's just a leech. And the whole time, Dana White, the man with the money, the man who's paying Paddy less money now than what he was getting before his UFC days, was sat there nodding, going, yeah, I agree, let's throw knives at Ariel, let's fire some arrows into his back. It was a strange podcast to watch. It should still be on YouTube. Go and check that out and leave your comments below. What do you think, guys? Is Paddy the Baddy just on a mad one? To me, he seems like he puts on this persona, and I get it, it's viral. It captures everyone's imagination. It's that sort of fuck you mentality. I'm here and I'm the man. I'm Conor McGregor. It's that mentality, isn't it? But I don't see that translating to the ring. He hasn't had any spectacular victories over fighters that you would say, wow, okay, now we need to sit back and take note. He isn't at superstar level. He's still on the come up, but he isn't at superstar level. He's not as famous as Conor McGregor. He's not even the most famous fighter in his game. He's definitely not a crossover fighter or a crossover celebrity yet. He has blown on YouTube, but I think the fact that he can see the YouTube revenue coming in for his own page has led him to maybe think that I need to be charging for all these small, minute interviews so that I can cash in the long term. And yeah, you've got to think about it. His management team, his manager, are definitely trying to think about the cash return on their investment. And they want to make as much money as they can because, mate, Paddy's a cash cow for them. So there's always two perspectives when you look at something like this, but what I will not stand by and take is someone in the position of Dana White slating somebody who has dedicated their professional career to the sport, to professional combat sport, like an Ariel Helwani, who has got years and years and years of content, and he's been in this game. And I'm not a major UFC fighting fan. I don't follow all the intricacies of the game. I just follow the major fights and the major athletes. But I have seen Ariel do interviews with boxers. I've seen him do interviews with UFC fighters and even just football or crossover stars. So Ariel is a great journalist. And for him to be giving light into the game of MMA, UFC, boxing, I think we should stand by and take note and put a little bit of respect on his name. Anyway, guys, I'm interested to know what you all think about this situation. Do you think Paddy is just on a mad one? Do you think Ariel's comeback video was right, addressing the fighter, saying that I don't actually earn any money from YouTube at all? I'm on a salary, so me paying you for an interview isn't going to work. I don't have a budget for this. We're a major platform and we give major athletes exposure. Or do you think that Paddy is right and that people like Ariel, SPN, ESPN, BT, all the major sporting platforms should be paying for the content that these athletes or these fighters are giving them? Interesting times to say the least, especially on the build up to Christmas. The videos have been going absolutely viral. Watch it on YouTube, guys, and let me know what you think. It's Harry from Inside Boxing Brain. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It's right there below. Hit the subscribe button. And yes, I'll be back for another video very soon. Boom, 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 boom.